Hey, what is up, YouTube? This is still a Toad, and today I'm going to be talking about depression from COVID. Okay, so a symptom of long COVID. Now, long COVID is where you have a bunch of side effects after the virus is done because it releases pathogens, it can cause nerve damage, it can cause all sorts of things. But one of the side effects of long COVID is depression. Okay, and it doesn't kick in right away like you're going to be depressed right after you get over COVID. It can take a little while and it can be triggered by something, but essentially, because COVID causes nerve damage, okay? Because it causes nerve damage, it can kill serotonin receptors and it can kill dopamine receptors. It can kill a lot of different types of receptors, which is why it causes such severe body aches, okay? Now, how do you deal with post-COVID depression if you're having post-COVID depression? Well, let me start with a story. So a couple months ago, I heard a audible voice in my head say quercetin. Now, I get this a lot where I have a computer voice or a Google voice say words that don't really have any context, and then later I'll find out why those words are important. But I had no idea why quercetin was important. It's a very common chemical. You can find it in lavender. You can find it in all sorts of medicinal herbs and non-medicinal herbs, but what it does is it's an anti-inflammatory plant polyphenol. But not only is it anti-inflammatory, but quercetin in particular has been linked to helping ameliorate depression, okay? And depressive symptoms induced by stress or induced by outward factors, or at least triggered by them, okay? And so yeah, for a couple weeks, I've been like unable to get joy out of anything, okay? Like, I wouldn't be like, no matter what I was doing, I could be doing something that I always enjoyed and it just wouldn't trigger any happiness or any joy. It's like my brain wasn't producing dopamine. During this time, I also was talking to myself in a mirror, and the person in the mirror said, "You're not producing any dopamine." And I said, "Well, how do I produce dopamine?" And I said, "I don't know." Well, because I was talking to myself, but I also wasn't talking to myself. It was a conversation. But, anyway, the person in the mirror said, "Well, if you can't get dopamine, then you're kind of screwed." So I didn't know how I was going to make my brain start producing dopamine, because it seems like I couldn't get any satisfaction or joy out of anything. And so for a couple weeks I was really depressed, which is why I didn't make, consistent videos for a while. But, quercetin, here's what worked for me and what seemed to immediately ameliorate my depression is sarsaparilla, okay? Now, sarsaparilla, I'm going to admit it, it has zero, proven medical uses. It's got zero proven chemicals that have any significant effect that you can't get from something else, but it does have a very high amount of quercetin. And so I made myself some sarsaparilla tea, and within 15 minutes, I was, no, maybe not 15 minutes, maybe it was more like an hour, or an hour and a half, actually. But it seemed like, whoa, I'm not sad. Now, this was an epiphany for me, because I was sad for a really long time. I'm not really sure what triggered it. And there were some confounding factors, okay? So now I'm going to talk about the the 2 cups method. The 2 cups method is a method of dimension jumping or reality shifting to where you use 2 cups. And how it works is that you have 1 cup of water and another cup of water that's empty. And you label these cups desired reality and reality, okay? Current reality. All right? Holding the one that says current reality, you tap into, and you inject or infuse the vibe of this reality into the 1 cup, okay? That says current reality. And then in the other cup, you pour the water in and imagine as though all of your consciousness from this life is pouring into the reality that you desire. And yeah, you basically do that every day, okay? And you pour it in, and then you hold the next cup that's full of water now that says desired reality, and you imagine, tap into, and infuse it with your desired reality, okay? But the thing is, it's the same water, okay? And so by the the exact same day that I stopped feeling depressed is when I stopped trying to use the 1-cup method, or the 2-cup method. And also, the same time that I started getting depressed was actually about a couple weeks before I started using the 2-cup method. So both of those things are confounding, okay? Because at the same time I stopped doing the 2-cup method, I stopped feeling depressed. Now, were there any other confounding factors? Post-filming edit, there was also more confounding factors, and I'm not going to cover those because they were personal as to my life specifically, and yeah. But quercetin did help me, reduce my depression. Actually, I haven't been depressed since I started drinking sarsaparilla tea. Another post-video edit, this is also not the first time I've been depressed for a period of weeks or months, and so that's another confounding factor. Even still, sarsaparilla tea. That's pretty much the only confounding factor that I can think of, because my diet has been very consistent. It hasn't been unhealthy. I've stayed well hydrated. Now, another thing is I had other symptoms of long COVID, which is why I'm saying this is probably what caused the weird depressive bout that I had. Because another symptom of long COVID is weird dry mouth, and you don't know why your mouth is dry. It just stays dry for days and days and days. Well, that eventually went away. At the same time that the dry mouth started going away is when the depression got worse. It was already there when I had dry mouth, but after it went away, my depression started getting worse. So, and then also body aches, random pains around the body that you don't really know what causes them. But yeah, sarsaparilla tea and quercetin. You can also use lavender, or also lilac is high in quercetin, so you can make tea out of either of those things, and that should help, or at least it helped me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the bell notification icon. Goodbye.